Welcome to today's webinar, a live demonstration of NetSuite Cloud ERP for software companies. My name is Kimberly Odom, and I'm a Marketing Director here at NetSuite. I'm joined today by Kartik Pasamarty from our Solution Consulting team. We thank you for joining our product demonstration, which will showcase our award-winning ERP solution. Here's our agenda for the next hour. First, I'm going to go through just a few introductory slides to give you some background about NetSuite, and I do promise to keep this portion of the webinar to a minimum. Then we'll dive right into the product demonstration, where we will cover a lot of functionality, as you can see here on the agenda slide. At the end of the demonstration, we'll wrap up by answering your questions. Please feel free to ask a question at any time during the webinar. Type in your question using the Q&A tab in WebEx, and we will get to those at the end of the demonstration. So let's go ahead and get started. It's an exciting time in the software industry. New delivery models such as the cloud have facilitated tremendous innovation and growth, but they also give rise to a new set of challenges that companies must face. Growth and global expansion, whether it's new development teams, a support organization expanding to meet the needs of a global customer base, or expanding into new markets through various international sales channels, all of this puts strain on the organization. Financial reporting and compliance becomes more and more complex. The software industry has some of the most difficult revenue recognition requirements. Oftentimes, companies resort to using spreadsheets, actually a lot of spreadsheets, to manage revenue recognition complexity. This is an extremely inefficient and time-consuming process. The shift away from the perpetual license model toward the subscription model continues to increase. In a SaaS or subscription model, your success is directly related to your ability to effectively manage and maintain your customers. Managing the renewal process and maximizing upsell opportunities has never been more important for software companies. NetSuite's solution is uniquely designed to help you address all of these challenges. Because of our strong focus on the software industry and the fact that we are a software company ourselves, we truly understand these pain points. Today, we will touch on each of the areas you see here in detail and demonstrate how NetSuite allows you to solve these challenges. We'll cover in detail the tools that you need to manage complex multi-subsidiary and multi-currency realities that come with global growth. We'll also take a look at the deep functionality available to automate and help you manage your financial and accounting back office more efficiently. You'll also need real-time visibility into the business in order to remain agile and seize opportunities as market conditions change. And for those of you who operate under a recurring revenue model, we'll review the tools you need to ensure that you are maximizing those opportunities as well. For those of you that may not be familiar with NetSuite, we were founded in 1998. We had a very successful IPO back in 2007. And we have experienced dramatic and consistent revenue growth since our founding. We are the largest public SaaS company providing a fully integrated business management solution. We operate across the globe with over $300 million in annual revenue and more than 1,700 employees. But the most important thing is that over 16,000 organizations trust NetSuite to run their mission-critical business applications. For 3 years in a row, we've been named the fastest-growing financial management solution by Gartner. We've been recognized time and again for having the leading solution in the market, whether it's winning the CODI Award for Best Financial Management Solution, awards bestowed on us by the Institute of Management Accounting, or being named as one of the 10 cloud companies to watch. NetSuite solutions are recognized as world-class by the market and by the industry. NetSuite is the #1 choice for modern software and high-tech companies of any size, with well over 800 software companies running their business on NetSuite today. From disruptive startups like Square and Airbnb to companies that have successfully transitioned from startup mode to becoming a mid-market leader, companies like Box and HubSpot, to larger, more mature organizations such as CA Technologies. In addition, a number of NetSuite customers have recently debuted with great success as a publicly traded company. A few of those companies include Cornerstone On Demand, Splunk, and most recently Qualys. Regardless of what stage your organization is at, NetSuite has the tools to help you move your business forward. And now it's my pleasure to turn the webinar over to Kartik for our product demonstration.
Thank you very much, Kim. Good morning, everybody. Let me go ahead and share my desktop here. This is the agenda we have for today. We have a lot to cover, so I'm going to start off right away. We're going to touch on role-based dashboards, drill down reporting capabilities in the beginning. Then we'll get into order-to-cash process, where we'll take a look at simple order entry and process it through the workflow into a cash application. And then we'll take a look at some of these revenue recognition functionality within NetSuite. Get into contract renewals, and followed by Procure-to-Pay process, where we get into employee putting in a request, getting through approval process, and receiving the product or fixed asset into the system. Jump into fixed asset module a little bit, and then finally wrap it up with the period close process. Of course, we have a Q&A at the end of the session. So let me go ahead and start with role-based dashboard drill down and reporting capabilities. What is NetSuite dashboard strategy? We have grouped these dashboards into 3 different categories: strategic, managed, and reactive. Starting off with reactive, where these are day-to-day users with access to the system, configured to their role in the organization, and have been given these reminders and alerts and menu items and shortcuts to do their day-to-day activities, right? So they can react to that, and they can perform their day-to-day jobs. Then come to managed dashboards. Those are to the line managers, the team managers who are able to query different aspects of the system to make sure their team is performing the way they should perform, and taking advantage of the Save Search feature in NetSuite to analyze data and make decisions. And then, of course, strategic dashboards, a role-based approach, where the C-level executives are looking at their KPIs, trend reporting, and financial reporting, which is coming from all these reactive and managed information users, and bubbling up to their dashboard so they can make decisive decisions going forward. So we're going to see multiple dashboards in the demonstration and how they perform. Now, the demo data set we're going to look at has a global structure with headquarters in the United States, with regions of EMEA with GBP, Asia Pacific with Singapore dollars, and Americas USD, and different subsidiaries with different currencies. So we'll see how that is all rolling up to the top with the real-time consolidations there. And then finally, our tax engine being so flexible. Currently, we support 51 countries and counting for tax reporting and compliance issues, right? So let me just go ahead and jump into the application. I'm logged in. We are browser agnostic, so whether it's Internet Explorer, Chrome, or Safari, whatever is your choice, you're able to use that browser to access NetSuite. You'll be given a user ID and password, and you'll log in. Based on the role assigned to you, right now for the demonstration purposes, I have assigned myself, say, multiple roles. But typically, a user would either have one role or, in some cases, 2 roles. Roles are nothing but your role in the organization and kind of driving. Right now, I'm CFO headquarter level, where I'm able to look at information which is already consolidated on the real-time basis, whether it is key performance indicators, revenue trends, or AR aging at the global corporate level, right? So that's the difference. And then on the menu items you see on the top, these are completely configurable. So based on different roles and the permissions you have, as a CFO, you're able to see those informations and you're able to perform those tasks. Similarly, a user who's maybe an employee or a consultant may have a different role altogether, which will give them access to specific information for their day-to-day activities, as against a CFO who's doing more financial information and drilling down. So that is also driven by security. So you're able to define user roles, provide security, permissions, people who can look at different screens, different reports, different transactions, and it's very secure, right? So let's go ahead and drill down. We talked about dashboards. Right now we're on the CFO headquarter level. We're looking at the income number. Let's go ahead and drill down on that number and see how that is populating real time. We are going into the income statement here. We see revenue on a global level, but we have the flexibility of breaking it out by subsidiary level and refreshing that report. So right from the dashboard, I was able to drill down and see the income number. And right away, I was able to change the perspective columns and see the different revenue numbers by subsidiary. And not only that, right now I'm looking at all the information in US dollars. So I'm more interested in United Kingdom. So I click on United Kingdom, drill down further into the actual transaction detail. Still, because I started off as a CFO at the headquarter level, I'm looking at it in a US dollar perspective, but you have the flexibility to change that and say, hey, why don't I look at that in a British pounds perspective? Just change the subsidiary context. Now I'm looking at those invoices in British pounds. I can further drill down and look at the actual transaction which has occurred. See the line item details, the subscriptions, what was the price on it, what was the VAT, how much VAT was calculated, what is the subsidiary we are in. United Kingdom is the subsidiary, and of course the currency which has been used here. So you'll notice that 371 US dollars got converted into 200 British pounds, right? So two things to note. One is you're able to drill down from the dashboard level down to the transaction level, not only in your subsidiary, depending on your roles and permissions, you're able to go down to any subsidiary you have access to and go down to the transaction level and look at the details. Okay, so that's drilling down capabilities of NetSuite, and because of that and the structure of subsidiaries, the PowerPoint you saw, the second PowerPoint where there was a subsidiary structure, that is replicated in NetSuite as such here. So you've got headquarters, you've got America regions, then you've got all these subsidiaries. It's pretty easy to create a new subsidiary. Click on new, add a name, choose the language, choose the currency, and the system will automatically default all the necessary chart of accounts which are available for the global, and you can always add country-specific chart of accounts. And then because of this structure, number one, and number two, go to my shortcuts and look at this consolidated exchange rates table. And because of this consolidated exchange table structure, let's say if you're in United Kingdom, and how does that roll up to the top? And this is how it does. So subsidiary structure and consolidated exchange rate table from United Kingdom to EMEA region or United Kingdom country to headquarter level. This is how it will roll up in real-time basis. So suppose an invoice is getting posted in United Kingdom. The system automatically rolls based on current average or historical rate, depending on what that setup is as per FASB 52. You're able to roll it up to the regional level and then the headquarter level. And that is why you're able to see these numbers on a real-time basis. And the consolidation is not a month-end process where you have to run a report, do a process or anything. It is happening on every transaction-by-transaction basis. So you're able to look at the numbers at the consolidated level, and if you drill down further by the subsidiary level, just by drilling down and changing the perspective on a country-by-country basis. Okay, so that's something I wanted to make sure came across. Coming back to the dashboard, it is completely configurable dashboard, so I've added some global ratios. When I talk about, hey, real-time information, I've got this global ratios portlet which is available. Not only the numbers you're able to drill down, I'm able to drill down on these formulas, and the system will give you how did it calculate the current ratio. So it takes the formula, bank balance, receivables, current assets minus current liability, so on and so forth. Not only that, I'm further able to take that number, receivables number, and drill down into the actual AR aging summary report, right? And find the customer I'm interested in. Maybe, hey, this is over 90 days. I would like to see what's going on there, 38,000. I get into the details of the invoice. Then I find out, okay, this is a big invoice. I want to see what that is all about. I can go down to the transaction level and look at, well, who's the customer, what was the date, what's the due, what was the line items on these, and kind of make those decisions based on those transaction details, and just come back to the summary level dashboards. Okay. Not only that, the graphical interface. You can see the revenue trend, customers by balance. Again, you can also drill down on these graphs. So numbers, formulas, And you can always drill down on graphs too and click on those specific customer you want to see the details of, and then go down to details. So I think I pretty much nailed the drill down and real-time capabilities on the dashboards. Coming to a couple of other items I want you to kind of focus on the dashboard is the reminders. So NetSuite has a complete workflow management system across all functional areas where you can create a workflow which is by point and click and not code, where any user who's able to set up triggers and have a workflow start. And later in the demonstration where we do the procure-to-pay process flow, I'll show you the one workflow in action. But bottom line is you're able to create your workflows, set up your own triggers, and have the system follow through, whether it's purchase request to payables, or is it order approval process, whatever that is, you can define that. And then as a reactive item for the users, show them up on their reminders portlet on the left-hand side here, where they can click on it and go ahead and find that record and perform their tasks accordingly. So we'll take a look at that. And then, of course, shortcuts we have seen. We can always add different shortcuts to the screen. Now, I can configure this dashboard. I can move dashboard around, and if I don't want to see something, I can always remove it and hide it. I can always personalize dashboard. There's a lot of content available, whether I want to bring in a calendar. And I talked about save searches. I can bring in a custom search portlet. Basically, what that is a area where you can define what you want the system to populate there. So, for example, I have created a couple of these save searches. Save searches are nothing but a criteria I'm setting up on certain tables, whether it's master tables or transaction tables, and I'm defining that so that it creates a dynamic list for me, and it's getting updated real time, and I'm able to publish that onto my dashboard for a variety of reasons. So as a CFO, I want to look at top value customers. So it's a predefined, there's a lot of predefined save searches available, and you can create your own save searches. And if there is time at the end of this webinar, I'll go ahead and do a save search. But basically, it's nothing but setting filters on records, whether it's master records or transaction records, and putting criteria on it. And right now I put criteria that, hey, based on customers' total value, whether it's revenue, I want to see top value customers. I want them populated so I can focus on those customers and make sure everything is getting done appropriately. Now, once you're done with that dashboard portlet, you don't need it anymore. You can always hide it, and you're back to your standard dashboard. Okay, so that's those are the few things I wanted to touch base on: role-based dashboards, security permissions, and then of course the real-time consolidations and reporting. Talk about reporting. Different reports. NetSuite has standard reports available, over 150 plus. You have income statements, which we have seen. We have balance sheet, cash flow statements, transaction ledger. That's pretty standard. I'm not going to go too much in detail. And of course, you have your AR, AP aging, AR aging reports, where you can go ahead and run these reports. You've seen we were able to drill down. Additionally, any report in NetSuite you're able to print, email, or schedule that report to work. And of course, you can export it to either Word, Excel, or PDF. By scheduling, a little note on that, by scheduling what I mean is you can set up these reports to be created on a certain date and automatically sent as an email or attachment to the respective group of resources or a particular resource, and then take it from there, right? And then, of course, all of these reports you're able to go ahead and drill down and get to information to the transaction level basis. Okay. Now let's change roles a little bit. Let's jump to the next aspect of it, which is order to cash process. So I'm going to go ahead and do an example or simple order where we enter a sales order. We will go ahead and build a sales order, see how revenue recognition schedules are created, which pretty much eliminate the need for use of a lot of Excel sheets, and see how the AR and GL are affected, and then we'll do the cash flow there. So for that purposes, let me change role and become a controller US West. Now, Controller US West, for this demonstration purposes, is doing all of these activities, but it could be a sales rep, it could be a support rep, customer service executive, whoever it is who is able to do those transactions. I'll just go into this create new quick access menu item and just click on create new sales order. I'm able to create new sales order right from there. Now, you're able to create either a new customer, or you can go ahead and choose an existing customer by just typing in. So if I click on this down arrow, I can go to a list of all customers available, search for a new customer, or create a new customer. Because I know the name of the customer, I just type in a couple of these letters, and Ultima Technology comes up, and the system transfers all that information from the customer master to the sales order header, where the terms and so on and so forth. So there's a contract start date and end date. And the example I have here is same concept here for items in the bottom. I have a perpetual license example where, let's say I need 20 users of it, and based on different price levels which are available, you can define different price levels and attach them to customers, and then those becomes price books for items, so you can have different pricing for different price books. So right now, corporate is the name of the price level I gave that customer, so its 2,000 rate has come up. And on the SKU itself, I've defined the billing schedule, right? I've said it's 100% upfront. But you can have your own billing schedules available. So for example, right now it's 100%, but you have the flexibility to see 25% down, quarterly billing, monthly billing, specific contract requirements we're seeing nowadays, where it's on milestone basis, weekly billing, so on and so forth. So NetSuite, you're able to define your own billing schedule, whether it's a standard billing schedule used by the organization, or is it specific to this order itself, right? You are able to do that and attach it. So right now we'll just leave it as is, and then go ahead and add that to the line. Now, the maintenance is the next aspect I would like to go ahead and add. Now, this maintenance is going to get calculated automatically on the perpetual license because it's kind of linked by different categories. And again, same billing schedule is available. And then, of course, you define the term. So because maintenance for 12 months in this case, starting on today and ending 12 months later. Importantly, you'll notice that you're also having the flexibility to recognize revenue immediately or over a period of time. And when you do that over a period of time, you have the flexibility of creating your own revenue recognition schedules. System comes with a lot of standard ones like even periods, where you're equally distributing the revenue over a period of the contract, or exact dates where you're taking proration for each month, then milestone, one rent, and you can have your own revenue recognition schedule. Let's leave it at exact days, and then give it the period. It's 12 months and starting today, and so on and so forth, and that's it. And so the system now, because the maintenance is 25% on this SKU card, the system calculates automatically 10,000 off the 40,000 revenue. That's pretty much it. So I'm able to see that this order is ready to be saved, 40,000 for the perpetual license, and then support of 10,000 with required billing schedule and revenue recognition schedule. As I mentioned, there's always workflow available, and you can activate it or not. In this case, this sales order is pending approval, right? So I'm able to go ahead and it comes up as one of those reminders, as we talked before, on the dashboard for the respective person to go in and look at the order and go ahead and approve the order. And as soon as you approve the order, you see the revenue recognition schedule changes from the name, and now you're able to see the revenue recognition schedule based on that term you have set up. So if I open that up in the new tab, you'll notice that February, being 2 more days, so 3 more days to go, is getting only $82 to recognize revenue, and then March, April may have different numbers depending on number of days, because we went with exact dates on that line item, right? So the next step is, go ahead and build this order, going through the process, and you'll see the status. You've got pending approval, now it's pending billing, so you're able to go ahead and use the data which is already available on a sales order and move that to the sales invoice without even have to re-enter the information. Information comes down to the lines, and you're able to go ahead and take advantage of that data not being rekeyed again and again for the transaction purposes. So it's all there. You go ahead and save that invoice which got created off of that sales order. And now you'll be able to see the GL impact of that order. So what's going to happen in this case at least is we will be able to see the GL impact, which is deferred revenue is affected to the extent of $10,000, which is going to be spread across the period of 12 months of the contract. $40,000 for the enterprise perpetual license is recognized immediately, right? And then the system automatically will trigger revenue recognition journal entries every month for the user to go ahead and recognize, right? So for that purposes, you're able to see those standard Excel sheets. You'll be running revenue. What's the revenue rec forecast for the next periods? Same thing. You can do that in NetSuite right now by just running this report. Right now, it's showing this $10,000 as single amount for February 25th. I'm able to go ahead and change the column perspective just like we did before on income statement and change that perspective to accounting period. So you can see how that $10,000 is broken out by each period, starting from February with $82 and so on and so forth, and you're able to go ahead and see the breakdown of revenue forecast. So this is a typical waterfall report you're familiar with, and you can take these reports and further go down in details. In this case, it's a simple example that it's one item, but then if you want to see the details of how that revenue recognition is done on a line item by line item basis, you can click on View Detail on that report, and now I'm able to see, so it's Ultima Technology invoice 0541. It's for AAA perpetual support. It's 82, 849, so on and so forth. What if you want to look at it in a different way? Right now you're looking at it invoice by invoice basis. What if I want to look at it by product? And this is where the power of customization comes into picture for NetSuite is I can just go ahead and click on Customize on this detailed report, and I can call this, it's webinar revenue recognition forecast detailed report. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this item and bring it to the front of the report, and then I'm going to say, can you group this previous column to the item name? So now this report is ready, and I'm able to go ahead and see this report, grouping it by item. And if I go ahead and uncollapse everything, I'm able to see the products as the headers now. And then what I can do is I can look at this AAA perpetual support and expand that. Now I'm seeing all those invoices for that product. And I'm able to go ahead and, again, do the columns for, accounting periods, see the details, so on and so forth. But you see the flexibility of customizing a report in NetSuite and how you can configure it based on your requirements, grouping or otherwise. Okay, so that's, invoice which we created. Let's just go to the invoice, Best part is just drill down on the report and you're in the transaction of that invoice. You can accept payment on that invoice, right? That's just for that one invoice. You can accept payment by pushing that button, or you can go to customer and account receivables and accept customer payments, and you're able to go ahead and choose the customer, bring in all the open, available open items, invoices, whether it's credit memos, deposits, so on and so forth, do the application, even take advantage of discount taken if there is any, right? I'm not going to go too much detail there, but just wanted to, kind of close the loop. A couple of more examples I want to show you which will kind of help with the process. One is order 2468, which is typical same order. But here what I've done is I've taken this perpetual license support, but if you notice on the right-hand side here, I've given 100% discount on this maintenance line, and I'm taking advantage of the VSOE on that perpetual support item, and the system automatically breaks down $75K and $25K, so it does the allocation, based on VSOE. And the way VSOE is set up is on this queue record, and you're able to have the system automatically create that. So if you notice, now the revenue recognition for the first line will be only to the extent of $75,000, and $25,000 will go to the deferred revenue. So if I go to the invoice of that order, 2468, and see the GL impact, you'll notice that that is doing, 100,000 was sent to revenue, and then you'll see the audit trail where 75,000 is going to revenue and 25,000 is deferred revenue, and you'll see the VSOE reversal and allocation. So that's number one. The second example I want to show you, I want to kind of talk about it on a slide here, the EITF 0801. So the example is going to be where initial sales order, we are going to now move on to the subscription license, where there's subscription license, there's support, and then there's services. There are ESPs, estimated selling prices, set up on those items, and then there's the breakout based on their estimated selling prices, and that's how the revenue will be recognized for those line items, right? So typical standard revenue recognition scenario. So for that, let me just go to 2471. That's the order which we entered for you to save some time, and you'll see the subscription item, support item, and professional services, the billing schedules and RevRec schedules, and you'll notice how even though the list price is $36K, the actual revenue recognition amount is $39,600, and that's how revenue will be sent out. And if you see the RevRec schedule for that, you'll see $39,600, and that's how it's broken out by different periods for accounting purposes. So same thing, EITF 0801, and let's say you have one last scenario I wanted to kind of touch base is what if you have hardware and software involved in the same order? Then you have a dual allocation going on, where initially it's all done on the ESPs, and then you have VSOE. The system will do that too, where it's doing reallocation initially on estimated selling prices, and then basically on the VSOE, and you'll get the right revenue allocation, so that's recognized over the period of the contract or whatever you have defined. Right? And important to note, we're not going to cover that aspect here, but you notice the services part. You can link services aspect of the contract to the projects module, and you're able to go ahead and recognize milestone revenue recognition or POC revenue recognition based on that. Okay? So that pretty much wraps up my order to cash process, right? The next aspect I want to talk about is the contract renewals. So it's a smooth transition from, we have created the order, we have, created the contract of the order when we go ahead and record that, and then the system will track install basis for that customer by contract, and it's tracking those items. And based on the term, like, we had the maintenance support term, which was for 12 months, and if that's renewable, the system will keep track of that and will suggest a renewal order. So here is the workflow. So from the customer, you could enter contract items. We call them contract items. Some people call them install basis, installation items. Whatever that is pretty much what customer owns, right? So those are either through new orders, as we've seen, could be through upsell orders in the middle of the contract, and maybe they do co-term or a new contract is created, or they could be reduction too. Written authorizations are created and negative install base items are posted. So net effect, the contract record is getting updated with all these transactions, and then at the end of the contract period, the system automatically will tell you, hey, depending on your setup and how your contract renewals module is set up in NetSuite, you're able to generate a renewal transaction, whether it's an opportunity or an estimate or even an order directly, and we'll see that in the demonstration. So let's jump into the application again, and for this, let me go ahead and change to another role, so kind of you get a flavor of what different roles look like. Here I'm looking at the Sas Metrics Scorecard. Here I'm able to look at annual recurring revenue, monthly recurring revenue, churn, upsell, downsell, whatever is happening, and what are the key performance indicators I want to look at as a CFO or a CEO or the administrator here in this example. So there's this save search I was talking about. So here is the upcoming renewal order. So based on the structure, the system is able to track contract items and able to suggest that, hey, these are the upcoming renewal orders. This is a save search I've created, and it tells me within 30 days what are all those contracts which are coming up for renewal. 31 to 60 days, what are coming up. 61 to 90 days, what are coming. You're able to do that. And then, you're able to drill down and see what the system has created for you, and basically, again, the workflow comes into picture, so you're able to see status, which is pending approval. You're able to see the line items, but most importantly, what is this based off of? It's from a contract record. So let me go ahead and open that contract record and give you a view of how the system is tracking. So the contract is tracking. I kept talking about contract items. So this is what the system is tracking. So first, as of May 1st, there was an order 2261 where you went ahead and bought, product subscription of quantity 20, reporting module, and then there was a support. So May 1st to April 30th. Then in August, you went ahead and added 180 more of the subscription and a couple of other extra storage modules on order 2262, right? So the first order, then the upsell order, and then in November you decided, you know what, I don't need those many of those data storage subscription. Let me go ahead and reduce -100 on a return authorization number 3. So the system is keeping track of this install base, which we call contract items, and these are the transactions which affected that activity. So there was a contract new, then there was an upsell, then there was a downsell, right? So based on this, the system is able to go ahead and calculate, hey, this is the net effect, and this is the contract new value. I'm going to create a new order. It could be an opportunity or a code, and this is a new contract I'm suggesting, and these are the items, and it kind of gives you, hey, this is a new contract suggestion starting from May 1st, 2013, going down all the way to April 30th, 2014, right? So the contract renewal modules does that and provides that as a dashboard for you to view and take immediate actions. Of course, we have seen multiple ways of this being handled, where the users are not only just not only creating that as orders. You might want it to as an opportunity, and of course we'll talk about integrations in a bit. But you're able to take advantage of the contract renewal modules to automate the revenue process there. Okay. Next, I would like to talk about the Procure-to-Pay process, where we're starting off with the requisition. We activate the approval process, get into the receipt, and also kind of touch base on fixed assets and how the payment happens, right? So for that purposes, let me go into, as a user, so I'll become Molly, who is a consultant. And this is Molly's employee role center, and you're able to see, Molly's able to track time, put in her expense reports, and able to enter a purchase request. She's also able to see recent records, calendar activities, and on project tasks, of course. But for today's purpose, let me go ahead and enter a purchase request. Molly wants a printer, right? And she has done her research, and she figured out, hey, ACOM Business Solution has a good printer. You could either choose the list of items available in the system, or you can choose miscellaneous, depending on what it is. And you're able to choose how much quantity, and you go ahead and add that, right? You can also do a couple of things. If you have done enough research and you have documentation, and you want people to look at that information, you can attach that documentation to this record. So say Molly's brother printer PDF quotation, which you receive, so that the person who is approving, the next person who's approving, whether it's a project manager, is able to see that file on that record before they're approving. You can put in a lot of other information on this record, but let's go ahead and save this, or you can save and print it or save and email it. But what happens is, because we have activated a workflow on this, and it triggered, if there is any non-inventory item being requested by an employee, system has Audit Trail, right? System is tracking every field and every change in the field, of who's setting it up, who's making changes. Very useful for maintaining master records or seeing transaction records. But that's one part, right? The other part is the workflow. What workflow did get activated automatically? So PO approval workflow got activated for a non-inventory item, and tells me that these are the options. Right now it's in state level 1, where it needs project manager approval. Once project manager approves, it goes into controller US West approval, right? So you'll also see the history of when it got started, when it went to different stages, so on and so forth. So quickly, let me go into project manager role. And again, this is one of these dashboards, right? Reactive dashboards, where project manager is looking at their reminders, and they click on what are the purchase requests I need to approve. Click on that record you want to approve, and you'll see it's pending approval. Again, you go back to your activities and see the file which got attached to that record. You can open it up and click on it and see the PDF file, or you can go ahead and put some notes on it. Actually, she wanted to buy brother printer, but she sends out an iPad quotation, right? Interesting. Anyway, so you're seeing the audit trail, you're seeing the workflow, how it is happening, who has approved it. But basically, you have two options, approve it or reject, right? So as a project manager, I'm fine with that. Molly can have her printer. You go ahead and approve that. So in the workflow, you'll notice that there's transaction history being kept, and it tells you now it's in level 2. Project manager has approved it. It started at 10:42 a.m. It went to 10:44, and now controller needs to approve it. So I go to controller US West role, right? And I'm looking at their reminders. So this is one of, again, reactive dashboard mechanism available. I'm able to click on the purchase orders to approve, click on the purchase order, and again, do my due diligence, look at the documentation, so on and so forth. I go ahead and approve it. Now, just to save some time, I've given controller US West access and permission and a hat of receiving the product and also billing it, but typically many companies, you have different departments who do that. So I go ahead and receive it. You can choose a location where you're receiving it, and then you can go ahead and save and bill this fixed asset, kind of, printer coming in, and you can make a choice what that fixed asset is. And if the bill comes with an invoice number, so you can keep track of the invoice number, you're able to go ahead and save that, and the system will go ahead and record the accounts payable, right? So the whole flow from purchase request to receive, approval process, and receiving and getting the vendor invoice. So how did this happen? How did this workflow happen, right? So from my shortcuts, let me go to my workflow areas and see how user event-driven or system event-driven workflows can be activated. So this workflow which got started is a simple PO workflow process where any non-inventory item suggested on a purchase request is getting transitioned to get approval, get a next approval from different people, and even once it's approved, it sends out email, right? Sends out emails to the person saying, hey, your PO is approved or is pending approval. So the workflows, as I mentioned, are not only helpful for you on the reminders part as on the dashboard level, but also can be, you can see the emails of that and take appropriate action. Similarly, there could be an invoice collection workflow. So this is point and click workflows you can create. So system will find all invoices which are overdue 30 days, first notice, so on and so forth, send email, completely configurable to your requirements. Okay? And then, of course, fixed assets, right? So I'll get into an administrator role for that purposes and talk about fixed assets quickly, where you can set up different kinds of fixed assets, asset types. You'll see, IT equipment, leasehold improvements. You're pretty much grouping these fixed assets and kind of defining defaults on those fixed assets. And then, of course, you have depreciation methods. There's straight line, diminishing balance. And it's completely configurable depreciation methods. Pretty much the list you see which comes out of the box is, enough for a lot of companies. But if you want to create your own, you're always able to do that with a new fixed asset depreciation method. Now, you want to look at a fixed asset card where you're able to go ahead and access a list of fixed assets and see the fixed asset master. Two things to note. One is your fixed asset information is tracked not only by department, class, or location, but you're able to see who is the custodian, physical location of the fixed asset, what is the depreciation period, start, end value, cumulative depreciation. You're able to see the history of the depreciation is being calculated. And one depreciation book is linked to the general ledger, but you can have multiple depreciation books for tax purposes or otherwise, right? So you're able to do that. Now, remember I mentioned, you're able to you're able to integrate purchase process as against, to the fixed asset process. So you're able to go ahead and ask the system to go ahead and suggest you what your, all the purchases have been, and based on what is available and what is listed for the fixed asset, the system automatically brings in that, hey, these are suggested fixed assets. You can convert these purchases into fixed asset, or you can reject them. So you have the capability of just choosing one or two, and the system automates the creation of fixed asset record for you based on the templates on asset types and so on and so forth. And then there's a lot of reporting. I won't get into that, but there's fixed asset reporting available. And finally, before I wrap up, I wanted to touch base on period close process, which is pretty automated for you. Depending on what modules you're using in the system, you go to manage accounting periods. As a user, you're able to see, what all the periods which have been closed, what is open. You can see the checklist which is pending to be adhered to. So you can lock AR, lock AP, and lock all. So you're able to do those locking so people are not posting to closed periods. But at the same time, kind of skipping the inventory aspects, but getting to intercompany adjustments for expenses. Say, suppose there's a project in one subsidiary and a resource from another subsidiary, you're able to go ahead and people work on cross-subsidiary projects, and you're able to go ahead and have the system automatically account for adjustments and make those intercompany elimination entries automatically. Revalue foreign currency balances if you have multi-currency customers or vendors, and you're able to account for unrealized gains or losses or realized gains or losses when the payment comes in. And then, of course, we saw the consolidated exchange rates as per FASB 52, which help with your real-time consolidation and income statement balance sheet information. And, of course, elimination of intercompany is one of the steps available if you have multi-subsidiary capabilities in your NetSuite application. The system helps you do those elimination entries. With that, there's 10 more minutes available. With that, I would like to go ahead and turn to Q&A.
Great. Functionality that we went through. I would like to, we're going to get to some of the questions that have been coming in throughout this webinar. If you have a question that you haven't submitted yet, you can do that really quickly and do that right there on the Q&A panel. So our first question is, we use Salesforce for our CRM. Does NetSuite integrate with Salesforce? And Kartik, I'll let you start that answer.
Excellent question. Thank you for that. Yes, we do. NetSuite has pre-built, out-of-the-box integration to Salesforce.com. So whether it's prospect records back and forth with NetSuite, or opportunities coming back and forth, or opportunities getting converted into quotations in NetSuite, or opportunities getting converted into a sales order within NetSuite, it's pre-built, it's real-time, and the integration, and you're able to take that pre-built integration, which works fantastic, and a lot of our customers are using that, and you can always go ahead and configure it. So a user is able to go ahead, and if you have any custom fields you have created in Salesforce.com, you're able to go ahead and map those to the NetSuite application too.
Yeah, and I'll just add one thing to that, Kartik. You mentioned we have a large number of customers that use NetSuite to run the financial piece of their business, and then use Salesforce for CRM. We also have customers who integrate with other primarily web-based CRM products, Sugar CRM being one of them. Actually, Sugar is a NetSuite customer as well, and they run our financials with an integration into the Sugar CRM solution. The next question we have is NetSuite. I've heard a lot about the entire suite. Do I have to purchase the whole suite? And I'll just start with that answer, and the answer to that is absolutely not. The suite is designed to be modular, so that it can be different. The piece parts that are basically needed to solve the challenges that you have today are the ones that you can get started with. For this demonstration, we specifically focused primarily on the ERP portion of the suite. We didn't talk anything about CRM or e-commerce. We do have those modules as well. But what we find when we're talking with software customers is, they're really trying to get a handle on getting some efficiencies and laying a solid foundation on the financial back office. So that's what we've spent some time focusing on today. And Kartik, do you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah. So many of our customers have taken advantage of having a strong foundation of a suite, right? Having a strong foundation of a suite which can grow with them, which can satisfy their requirements currently, and also make sure they satisfy the requirements as they grow and are exposed to, whether it's e-commerce or CRM or any other functional area which is required. And we have noticed that many of our customers have have been very, are being very successful in stating that, hey, I'm glad we made the choice and getting on NetSuite platform first and going ahead and growing on top of that platform, and we are able to satisfy all our requirements as we grow rapidly.
Thanks, Kartik. We have a question that's come in about NetSuite as a SaaS solution. How often do you deliver updates to your customers? And I'll answer that really quickly. We have two major updates that happen every year, where we introduce a whole new set of functionality to our customers. Those are rolled out in a very controlled manner, and basically we have a preview period by which all of our customers get kind of early access to the new functionality that's coming, so they have time to make sure that that they're ready for that upgrade and whatnot. But there's two major upgrades delivered every year, and so that's one of the benefits of going with a SaaS-based solution, obviously. Okay, the next question that we have come in is about some more questions about the dashboards and everything you showed. Kartik, I'll let you answer this question. The question is, how much of what you showed is customized versus kind of out-of-the-box NetSuite functionality?
So everything I've shown is out-of-the-box functionality, and you're able to go ahead and create your own. You take what is available, which comes out of the box, the standard KPIs, standard save searches, so on and so forth, and you are able to go ahead and build on top of that as just a normal user. You don't have to have IT background or anything like that. You're able to create your own, user-specific dashboard, save searches or KPIs, and populate those not only for yourself as a private, but also you can share it with different groups of resources within your organization. So whatever I've shown is completely out-of-the-box functionality.
Great. Thank you, Kartik. This is actually an interesting question that just came in. Is there an option to integrate with QuickBooks? And actually, typically a lot of software companies who begin looking at NetSuite are already using QuickBooks, and QuickBooks is certainly when you're a very small company and getting started a fine product to use. But a lot of people find that over time they're outgrowing QuickBooks, or they're having to augment QuickBooks with a ton of spreadsheets and whatnot. And really what NetSuite is a replacement for QuickBooks. So you really would not run both. You wouldn't have a use for both products. There's actually a ton of great information on our website if you're a current QuickBooks user. We also host multiple webinars about, how you're outgrowing QuickBooks, what do you do? So if you go to our website, there's a section in there that's specifically designed for people who are currently using QuickBooks. I'd encourage you to go there and take a look at some of the resources that we have available there. Okay, we have another question that's come in. Can you talk a little bit more about the audit trails, and do auditors get access to this, or how do you work? How does the system help me work better with my auditors to ensure I'm meeting everything from a compliance standpoint?
Excellent question. Definitely, you can create, as one of the roles we have seen, you could have an auditor role set up within the system where you give auditor whatever permissions they need for them to perform their audit activities right from their office, right? So kind of avoiding, if need be, they can just work from the office. So auditors can log in, a specific role or user login can be provided to auditors. They log in and look at transactions. Now, as far as Audit Trail goes, as I mentioned previously during the demonstration, you're able to see every change which has been made to records in NetSuite, whether it's master record or transaction records, typically like customer terms or order statuses, so on and so forth, and the system is tracking that information, and the auditors have the ability to run queries against those Audit Trail records and receive whatever information they need. And of course, you are always able to attach documents supporting your transactions, right? So whether it's a journal entry or a PDF document or an Excel sheet, so on and so forth, you want to attach supporting your transaction, and that is always available. So the auditor has complete view of your transactions, your attached documents, and of course the changes you made to the system.
Thanks, Kartik. Here we have a question. Do you make customized changes for clients? How is customization controlled, and how does that work with the upgrades? I'll start with that, and then Kartik, I'll ask you to add on to it. Yes, from NetSuite, one of the great things about the solution is it has a high degree of customizability, and there are some aspects that our customers are comfortable doing customizations themselves using things like SuiteFlow and some of our SuiteApp partners. Then there's other options for customization as well. NetSuite, we have a large, very capable professional services organization that can help or actually do those customizations for our clients on our behalf. We also have partners, a strong partner network of solution providers who actually can do some of that customization as well. But because of the nature of the SaaS solution and all of the infrastructure that we put into the platform itself, things like SuiteFlow, the Suite Cloud platform, there's a great deal of kind of backward compatibility so that the upgrade process remains very, very smooth for any of our, and I'd say a lot of our software customers have put customizations in place and don't experience any issues when that upgrade process happens. So Kartik, I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that.
That pretty much covers it, but I'll just add one small point, kind of an underlying principle, right? We talk about click, not code. What that is we're standardizing the way we customize or configure our system, right? So when you have a lot of standardization, when you're doing customizations and configurations, what happens is upgrading becomes pretty simple and straightforward because you have standardized it. So underlying principle to keep in mind that, hey, it's more, NetSuite is more, click, not code concept where you're making changes by just clicking and choosing options and adhering to the standards. So that makes it much, much, much easier to go ahead and upgrade.
Okay. Thanks, Kartik. We are at the top of the hour. I do want to be respectful of everybody's time. There are a large number of questions that we actually weren't able to get to, but don't worry. We have captured your question, and someone will be following up with you to get those questions answered. And I'd just like to say thank you very much for joining our product demonstration today. We appreciate your time.